dream, living the African dream.
Welcome back to the Pan-African Lifestyle Show. This is the ultimate Pan-African hub. Today we are tapping into the sound of culture. Our guest is a global tastemaker, a multiple award-winning DJ based in London, and the mastermind behind Afrology Sessions, the platform elevating Afropop, Amapiano, Afrobeats, and everything in between. His sets don't just make you dance, they tell stories of heritage, identity, and the future of music. Please welcome the one and the only DJ FiiFii. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. That was such an introduction. Thank you, man.
Honestly, I love when I hear a guest hear that, and like, what do you feel when you hear that?
Honestly, I don't know how to take like compliments too well
Yeah.
because I don't. I've been told to live in the moment, enjoy the moment and stuff, but I'm always just looking forward to what's next and that, So yeah, but I like it. Last time I had such a intro was it Sway in the Morning where he done like a crazy intro, and then
Crazy.
I was just so blown away. But yeah, I wouldn't want to say I'm not really too used to these introductions,
Right,
but
right,
I'll
right,
have to get used to them.
right,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
yeah.
We're sweating the more. We're gonna have to get into that today as well. That's a big one. But it's an honor to have you on, and I just want to begin with you of like, when does your journey with music begin? Like, what are those first origins?
So it wasn't until later on when I realized that I'm actually from like a musical city from
Mm,
in Ghana called Takoradi, the coastal western region,
mm,
where is the home of like Jedable Ambule and like few Western Diamonds band it's like there's lots of like high life artists from that
mm,
side as well. And we have this carnival masquerade thing that it's on every Christmas. So
mm,
every year, everyone look forward to this outing on the 25th of
mm,
December. And I realized that indirectly, that was where everything kind of like started for me because I love
mm,
drums and
mm,
just drums and like percussions and
mm,
trumpets and
mm,
stuff like that. So, but over with like DJing, it started like maybe 2009, 2008, 2008.
mm,
I was around friends that were DJs that were doing really well in like the university scene. That was when like funky house and stuff and house music was really big in the
mm,
UK. And I used to go to the parties, be around them all the time, and I don't know, for some reason I thought, oh, I can do this. And
right.
so I just I'll be home, and at that time it was a virtual DJ. I just downloaded the virtual
Mm,
DJ to my desktop, and then
mm.
I had like 10 songs that I would just practice like beat matching and stuff, and then I just watch and learn basically, and that's how it started for me.
Wow. And I think you must have been struggling in the uns times since you're such a, uns music, basically like the Calvin Harris type, whatever. Because did you have a mom where you were kind of like playing that, spinning that more than Afro, or you've always just kind of been,
I didn't really have to. It was, when they say like you're a product of your environment, it was just
mm,
basically what I was around a lot. I
mm,
enjoyed those type of songs as well when I was like in
mm,
uni, and that when you go to like
mm,
the SME student union events, and when you go, because I went to uni near like Kingston sides,
right,
and in London. So I'm a general music lover. So I loved R&B, hip
yeah,
hop, early
yeah,
2000s and stuff. That was my thing. So I played that as well, but I'm African, so by default I loved African music and stuff. So I
mm,
didn't really have to go like be around like the dance music like that, or play them.
yeah. I see what you mean, and it's like reading your brief as well, I learned about you that you've been curating, you know what I mean, Afro pop before it was even popular. And I wonder how you actually found yourself in that position. Like you said, it was about, for me, I'm not even gonna lie, it took me a while to grasp onto Afro music, having been from Ireland, the UK, we're so into the UK top 40 and just kind of like this, what they're
Yeah.
spinning here. One of the things I actually noticed, I'll never forget this, went to America, lived in Canada for a while, and when I touched back down in England, I remember I got in the car. I was driving. My dad was driving me home, and I was playing like the radio, and I was like, "Damn, they still like spinning just you know what I mean? This like the box of what certain white crowds would want to just want to hear. They hadn't yet branched out. Whereas in North America, they had. How did you find yourself in a position that even in the midst of like UK culture that you know what I mean? Probably, like I said, you were into a little bit of Calvin Harris and the likes, but your heart was always with Afro to be the one to actually curate it before it even became mainstream.
Yeah, so there was obviously there was like events like
Right,
within the Ghanaian community, the Nigerian
right,
community and stuff, and I was always like still connected back home, because I lived for the period of time that I lived in Ghana. I think it was so crucial and very a crucial part of the growth of like the hip life era from Ghana. And at that time, we had like Ghanaian artists that had big tracks that were traveling to like Sierra Leone and Nigeria to do shows and stuff. So by living there in my early teens to my mid teens till I was like 15, I was in Ghana.
okay,
So I absorbed all of
yeah,
these and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So by the time I came here, I knew these type of tracks already. And
yeah,
and
yeah,
sometimes with
yeah.
music is not just about just playing it. It's you knowing what to play at a certain time and knowing the impact is gonna have or the emotions that is going to evoke in people. You know what I mean? And so it was just and when I came to England, I was going to was like Ghana Independence and stuff. And back then there was this channel on Sky TV called OBE and Ben TV that was showing like music videos from like back home and stuff. So
I remember
that's
Ben.
how,
I think.
yeah, so that's how I stayed connected. And then I started like just digging. I just got into like a whole rabbit hole and just educating myself with like the Nigerian pop culture and with the Ghanaian stuff. It just came kind of like natural. And then I would just stay connected. And then I started so when I was in uni, just before I dropped out from uni, I was doing university radio, and one of my friends went to school with someone in Ghana that was in radio on one of the big stations in Accra at that time. He said, "Oh, you should link up with this guy. He's on radio and stuff. You guys can do stuff together and stuff." So I hit him up, and I went to Ghana in 2011. I met up with him, and he basically just kind of like he was a photographer at that time. He called Talk of Ghana. So he was taking pictures of all the big events. And at that time, he was the only one that was doing it. So he had access to all the artists. So he would take me to places, and I would just meet some of the artists and stuff.
Right,
And
right.
before I had gone as well, I had a guy here that was saying that we should do Ghana versus Nigeria event. He was Nigerian,
Right.
so he was going to take care of the Nigerian side. I should take care of the Ghana side. So at that time, there was R2Bs that was popping from Ghana.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
And then there was the Mo hits when there was D'banj with the when D'banj was with Don Jazzy at that time. And then so we said we're gonna put R2Bs versus Mo hits, and we're gonna put Sarkodie and NATO C. So I just went online and I searched for R2Bs, and then I got a Facebook page, sent a message about a booking event. didn't happen in the end, but we became friends. We stayed in contact till now. This was even before I became a DJ properly.
Wow.
And then I went Ghana in 2011, and I linked up with them, and yeah, just that's how I've been
Wow.
in the
Wow.
scene since, like meeting like Wizkid at that time, and like Ice Prince and all these guys
Wow.
before. Yeah.
You know, I'm not. This is a Pan African show, and I'd love to go down there because I'm also an artist. But it's just, it's a testament about your grit there. About this could be even like a how to inspire young artists, like a segment right there. It's just about seeing windows and just kind of climbing on one step to another step to another step. You know, or the sounds of what you're explaining there. It's like just one random Facebook message, and then boom, 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 one thing leads to another. And I think sometimes the young youth of these days who leave it all to Instagram don't know the strength of what we kind of like growing up, just trying to make those little, you know, what I mean, bump into someone at this event and blah, 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 and you put two things together. And a lot of people who we enjoy today came up that way, isn't it? It's like these real organic interactions, but also organic of effort, you know, that kind of way of just like being at the right place at the right time. But it's all about your kind of your mind being in a space where you really want it. And when you really want it, before you know, you're just in that right space and in that right space, and then one thing leads to another, and then you know you're DJ FiiFii. So that's a
100%.
massive point. But and I'd love to get into that on a music thing. But like on a more Pan African side, it's like you're seeing the perception now of, you know, Afro music change and evolve over the last decade. What's your take been on this kind of like, you know, saga that's been happening with Afro music?
With Afro music, I think it was just a matter of time that it
Yeah,
took off, because it was like a force. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a sound that people were not used to, but
right,
it's one of those sounds where you hear it and it just wants to make you dance or just
right.
vibe naturally. Do you know what I mean? So it was just a matter of time that everyone else bought into it and stuff. So I'm not surprised at all that it is where it is right now.
And
And it's a beautiful thing to witness, because like in the UK, I'm sure it wasn't a thing to hear like African music on the radio before Afrobeats, and then I've been privileged enough to travel around like Europe as well. Before I even actually came on this call, I was talking to my friend from Norway and how she's actually doing like events in Norway now. It's not even in Oslo, it's another town called Trondheim where they're doing festivals and they're looking to get into Afrobeat. And
wow,
like Copenhagen 10 years ago wasn't like
yeah,
this, and
yeah,
you just
yeah,
seen everything
yeah.
grown like Lyon in France, and it's just crazy. So it's just beautiful to witness.
Wow. And what does this mean to you as a? What do you think this means for Africa? You know, as like I want to say, do you feel like music is an important factor to our pure, if I can say?
Oh, 100%. I mean, in in Africa, or as an African, when you're happy, you're listening to music. When you're sad, you're listening to
Yeah,
music.
yeah, yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I mean? So we can't really avoid music is very spiritual. It connects with
Mm,
us in a way that we can't imagine. We can't just. It's just very important. So like in Africa, everywhere you go is like there's music like on the roadside. Like people will just pack their speakers and stuff and
right.
just go on the roadside. And
Yeah.
same in like in the Caribbean as well. Do you know what I mean? So for me, just like music is life.
Mm. I'm also quite liking how Afro is when it evolves sonically. So now at the moment we're taking the Amapiano, certain drums from Amapiano, but we're still rocking with the
Mental.
Afro music, and I just kind of like that piece of Pan Africanism right there in itself. Because before that, before Amapiano was kind of taking off in this recent time, it was just the Afro beats, right? and then now I think even obviously a lot of records, but in particular I think what's his name, Burna Boy's latest record, Bundle. You know, I think that's a good example of just like how it's an Afro record, but then you got some Amapiano drums in there as well, and the things emerging. So it kind of giving us a little bit more longevity. You know what I mean? Like, because now it doesn't get boring because we'll just say, okay, let's add in an element from South Africa to this Afro, and then soon it'll be like, let's add in a Kenyan or a Congolese element, and then we might just even hold the ball for the next 200 years. You know?
Yeah, I feel like in terms of sound, Africa's always had a sound, but like I said, it has evolved where before when Afrobeats or Afropop really peaked, it was just like maybe Nigeria and Ghana, like, you had Oliver Twist with the band, you had like Delzonto
Mm-hmm.
with Fuso DG,
Yeah.
that with that success. But I feel like African music had been making waves, because especially with the South African house kwaito
Yeah,
sound,
you're right. Actually, you're right.
where I heard uh, "Turn Me On" by Black Coffee and Superman, and
Right.
I didn't even know it was a South African
Right.
sound, like DJ
Right.
Kent Falling. I didn't know these sounds were South African. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
You're
the
so right.
influence has been there from a long
Yeah.
time, but like you're
Right.
saying, it has just evolved, and we have all learned how to accept these sounds and then mold it into our own as well. Like my piano's been around, from what I've been told, probably like 10 years now. I personally started like getting into it probably like maybe 2019 ish. 2019 is before it became. I've always had a I've always had the eyes on like the South African culture, whether it be in hip hop or their pop tracks or the Afro house and stuff. So I always kind of like knew what was happening within South Africa, and so it's a beautiful thing to witness, man.
Yeah, my cousins are heavy on that, and they always have these records because I make a bit of piano, but they always have these records. I'm like, damn, I should have. They're like ahead. They're getting that real underground piano groove, a different groove than like let's
Yeah,
say what they're doing on the mainstream or Chris Brown may be doing. There's this other groove. If I
different.
knew the songs, pronounce them in Mosa, whatever, I'd be able to say them. But some nice grooves. But let's talk about Afrology.
Yeah,
Am I pronouncing that right? Afrology
Afrology,
Sessions.
Afrology, Afrology sessions. Yeah.
How did you think of this? And what was going through your mind when you created this platform?
So Afrology is a mix that I started back in 2010. It was just a mix basically because
Mm,
I was listening to sounds from like other countries and everything. I was like, you know what, I needed a name for this mix, you know,
mm,
but it was very West Africa heavy, like Ghana,
mm,
Nigeria, and it was a friend. He's a DJ as well. Big up, Funky and Fresh. He's like, oh, why don't you just name it Afrology? I was like, ah, that's a
mm,
cool name. So I started doing Afrology Volume 1. I started doing Volume 2, and then I changed it to like the years. Afrology like 2012, 13, and I got back to the volumes, and it was just basically wanting to not just play Ghana and Nigeria songs. I wanted to be more inclusive, like so Congo, Sierra Leone, Kenya, South Africa, Zambia. So I would just kind of like dig deep into their scene, and then I'll be asking questions and then just include the ones that I feel like will go with what I already have. And then
mm,
I turned that to the Afrology show, a radio show for I was in Soho Radio till like last year for like 4 5 years. And then eventually during COVID I wanted to start like a YouTube mixing series, and it just didn't happen. So last year I was like, no, I actually need to, because there's a lot of songs that I don't get to play when I'm in the club, and I feel like,
mm,
and I'm more of like a taste maker where I feel like
mm,
I need to educate people on
mm.
the underground stuff, or sounds that I
Mm,
feel like are good but people don't know about, like,
yeah.
or sounds that I feel like if you hear it, it's gonna make you dance. It's not all about
Right.
just popular stuff. And then I feel like I will take this platform to do that. Yeah,
Brother,
so I started last year.
you just said something so big there. I'm really wondering, in a world of TikTok, in a world of how we now can chuck something down people's throats and they, take it, but then it's always the mainstream stuff. I love what you just said there about taste being a tastemaker and taking that underground stuff and bringing it to that main platform.
Mhm.
How important is that still to you, and how important is that for the industry? You know what I mean? That we continue to, people like yourself, take stuff that we may not have found on TikTok and be like, let's focus on the real stuff, and like sonically.
I feel like being a tastemaker is should be is a big part. It was like probably
Mm,
like the main part, like for DJs like Funk Flex and those guys breaking
mm,
tracks on the radio and that. So for me, for example, if I've got a set in a club and there's like different DJs, I always look out for what people are not gonna play or
mm,
what I can play to be
mm,
different but still entertain people.
mm,
So sometimes I know there's certain tracks I'm gonna play that no one else is gonna play. You know what I mean?
mm.
And it's refreshing for me to
Really?
it's refreshing for me to play a track or play a refix that's gonna make you pull a face, ooh, or just like, ooh,
Mm,
what is that type of thing? You know,
mm,
for me, it's very refreshing, and I've, like I said, coming from the era of like the funky house days where I went to Cyprus, Ayanapa in 2008, where there was like these DJs like DJ Super D, Marcus Nasty, Pioneer. They were always different, and that's what set them apart. They will come in and play a different version of a popping beat, or they'll play you a different version of the popping song. They'll remix it. And when I tell you that was what, like let's say 17 years ago, there's some of the beats that I heard that till now I haven't heard anywhere else.
mm.
So I feel like it's very important, like especially being at like an A&R, being a music
Right,
exec
right,
and
right,
stuff like that, it's very important to have a good ear for music. Being
right,
able to
right,
know that maybe people don't see what you see, people don't hear what you hear,
right,
but with the right tools, or you just being that guy known for taste making, or being the guy,
right,
the go-to guy when it comes to like new music or good music,
right,
you have you have to be that person. So um
right.
I had people back then. I would have people to say, "Oh, they're waiting for my mixtape," because I used to do the Afrology mixes once a
Wow.
year. They'll be like, "Oh, they're waiting to hear the songs." Okay, as what's kind of like popping, because now obviously now music is very accessible. It's just in your face everywhere, like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X now, YouTube. Back then, you have to kind of like dig deep. Like there was like websites, or you just have to know the culture to get these songs. Um, that's very very important when it comes to like
Who
taste.
who are your top three artists at the moment who you think are not on the mainstream that you still play and people are like, who's that?
Ooh, there's a guy called from Ghana called Young Dens who I've
Mm,
got tracks with. We've got like two tracks together. But
nice.
whenever I play some of his other stuff, people are, oh, who's this guy?
Mm,
Then there's him. There is. I'm more of like a instrumental type of guy, so like especially with the like I'm a piano guys and stuff. I dig
right.
deep to the people that's got like maybe 2,000 monthly listeners, but they got some
Yeah.
gems
Yeah.
when you go through their stuff.
Yeah.
I can't think on top of my head, but the only person I can think of right now is like Young Dems, that
Right.
people should pay attention to him. Like he's so
Mm,
talented. Yeah.
I was talking about, Odile.
Odile as well. Like people like Odile, Gabsy, they have their niche market. They
Yeah,
have their
right,
list.
right, right,
They have their
right.
people. It's just a matter of time that they become like very like they
Y-
blow, like go
Yeah,
mad
yeah,
commercial. But like
yeah.
they've like Gabsy will sell out. He sold out Somerset House last year. Like
Mm,
3,000 people.
mm,
Odile was selling out Kentish Town. He's doing this and that. So they're good. They're all right. They're good. They're
yeah.
okay. You know what I
I
mean?
was only saying how I like how with him we're bridging that R&B and that Afro in a way that I've never heard it before. In fact, he's kind of been one of the people who's been making Afro feel better for me. I've always had a very American ear, just like my taste. Even when it comes to hip hop, it was always very American. And he's that guy where there's been also a few Afro songs that are big that I really enjoy, but he's the one who's kind of making me feel differently about it. And so I'm getting what you mean about like these artists who need to be brought to the forefront because they just kind of give you a different feel. Although he's not as consistent with it, he's kind of hopping in and out. You know that he'll kind of have his like more R&B-ish, Brent Fayez kind of vibe to it, and then he might jump in. But I'm gonna definitely check out that Dems guy. Young Dems, is it?
Young Dems, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, Odile and they're very, very alternative artists. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
There's lots of
And
them out there.
we're going. There's loads, and I'm definitely searching. I'm searching for them. And we speaking of Odile and artists like that, we're stationed in London. London is a very vibrant city for probably one of the most vibrant cities for diasporans.
Mhm.
How is just being from London shaped your? And I think we spoke about this earlier. There's two sides to London, right? There's the unside to London, and then we've got we Calvin Harris, and where we go to every regular club, and then you've got this, heart of black music and
Urban
whatnot.
side.
How has that shaped you? Like both sides, kind of.
To be very honest, I think it shaped me to be the best
Yeah,
version of myself and prepped you for the world,
yeah,
basically, the world stage, because we have everything here, and
yeah.
especially in the DJing scene, um, I feel like we have something here, or from the culture that I grew up on, we have something here that preps you for every DJ set or anywhere you go in the world. Like we will have time slots for every DJ. You're playing from
Right.
this time to that time. You will be told you're playing this at this time. So
Okay.
if you're a DJ and you came up and you done lots of warm-ups and that, you're definitely ready to take on like the peak time and stuff. So
Right.
and if you're told to play hip hop and R&B 90s, you're doing that for an hour and you have to do it well. Whereby
Right.
you go to other countries and they're playing everything at different times. There's like no structure, respectfully. There's no like
Mm,
structure. And about we're used to structure. And especially
mm,
like with the Afro beats, Afro sounds and like my piano, especially with the Afro sounds, I can talk from my experience. Outside Africa, UK was like the hub, probably kind of like still is the hub, like the go-to
mm.
place for Afro artists and that. So they will come here. So we were exposed to a
Yeah, you're
lot,
right. You're
and that.
right.
So all the surrounding countries, like maybe Paris, Amsterdam, or the Scandinavian countries, they will look what's happening here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
when we went to like Paris or Germany, we had the upper hand in
Mm,
terms of, I wouldn't say technique, but in terms of like maybe selection wise and
right, right, right.
in terms of them hearing different sounds and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So that's what shaped me, and I will be forever grateful for that.
Mm. You've have some unforgettable moments, and I wanted to learn what collaboration for you has been like the most standout moment, and why?
Ooh, there's been loads. And it's very and it varies. Like I've started like releasing music collaboration wise that's opened doors for me, and collaborations with radio stations, collaborations with artists, like maybe just playing for them at shows, and collaborations with organizations, and I would say I done a collaboration with like dancers in 2012.
Mm,
It was for it was just to promote a mix I done. Just it's called Destination GH, and just came up with this concept. Like looking back at it now is kind of cringe, but at that time it was a big deal. And we just came up with this whole concept about dance and just to promote the mix. And then we uploaded on YouTube at that time, and it got like over 1 million views at that time, which
mm,
about 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, which was a big thing. So that's
definitely.
one of the big highlights for me back then. And then recently, I would say the biggest collaborative highlight would be when I DJ'd at the Ghana versus Nigeria match in London
Mm,
at Brentford when Ghana versus Nigeria was playing, where obviously I wanted Ghana to win, but we lost. But I still had a job to do as a DJ to
yeah.
entertain the crowd, where I just played a song. And funny enough, it was crazy, but when I finished, I was with like my PA manager, and she was like, "Oh, you need to upload something," because I had gone with a videographer for that day,
Right.
and then and this was around like 12 a.m. We were at Chinatown.
Mm,
So I've messaged the videographer like, "Yo, can you just send me like a little bit at the end when I was playing the
mm,
songs for people to like dance and stuff like that?" So he sent me like a whole 2 minutes 55 seconds clip, and I chopped the beginning bit, and I was like, "Well, let me just put this out," and then I just captured it like, "Oh, when like Ghana lost, but he still had a job to do and stuff," and it just went.
mm.
I posted on TikTok, and I never really post that late.
Right, 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 right.
And I posted it, and yeah, till now I'm still getting like comments and follows and
Wow.
stuff from that. That just went crazy. That I was not expecting at all. I'm sure there's been other highlights and that, but this is the most recent one that I can think of.
And I want to know, you said you're working with Young Dems at the moment, right?
I mean, yeah, we released the song last year, but we
Okay.
haven't yet got any song.
What's that process like when you work with an artist?
So I can't I can't physically make a beat with the software. I
Right.
haven't learned that side yet. I mean, that was my aim, and I've got like producer friends and stuff, and so I went to LA in 2019, early 2019, and me, my friend Tizzle, and his manager at that time. I don't know if you heard of Sons of
Maybe.
Sonics. Yeah, so they're like duo producers, beat makers. They're from London that moved to LA. To one of them's older brother still lives there. He's H Money. He's done like productions, worked with Neo, Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, Chris Brown, Mary J. Blige. So he's big time over there. And then he had the studio. He had one side for the duo, and he had his own side. And we went and we were just listening to sounds, and they were just breaking down like how they're listening to each instrument and
Mm,
how they were bigging up other producers.
mm,
And so being in that conversation changed my whole perspective of beats or listening to music. And that
mm,
was my guy Tizzle, who makes beats as well. He's been making music for a long time. And funny enough, like we had gone to Toronto like a year. a year before, and he was just trying to teach me how to actually do it on the software. And then so we left that studio session, we went home, and they had said that how they started was remaking other beats from like songs and that. So me and Actors were left, and then we said, "Oh, let's remake some beats." And I think it was Skepta and Whiskey Energy at that time, and he kind of remade it. It was
Right.
sounding close.
Dope.
And then I was with my friend called Guilty Beats, who is a Grammy award winner. He'd done most of Thames' new album, and I told him, "Yeah, I want to learn how to make beats." And
Mm.
he's like, "You don't really need to learn how to make. You can just have the idea, and
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
tell someone." I was like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, "Cool, lit, let's go." And then so I just started like I had this my first ever session with him. I had some ideas. I told her, let's flip this sample. We done that, and then I just started working with different producers where I would just tell them my ideas or this is the vibe I want. They'll send me beats, or I'll go. We'll be in the studio, and then we start from scratch. Or like, I want this instrument, I want that instrument, or they will send me a beat, and I'll be like, okay, I like this. Can we put this on there? Can we do this? And then I'll just Young Dems is a producer as well, so it makes it much more easier.
Okay.
It makes it much more
Yes.
easier as well.
Dope.
So yeah, and then I'll just hit up artists like, yo, I got this beat. What's your vibe? Or I'll have a pack of beats, and then they will choose. Or some of them will be like, okay, cool. What do you want? What are we singing about? What we're talking about? And then some will put you on the spot, and then some will go by what you say. But I've just learned to leave artists to just do their own thing. And
Right.
in the process of writing or melodies, if they ask for help, or I can, like when they come up with melodies and then we're all in the studio vibing, and then that's how I can contribute to it. That's the
Yeah.
most important part that I can say, because some there's been times where I've sent a beat to someone, or we were in the studio, they've started a song some way just by like with just the melodies before lyrics, and I'm like, you know what, the way you started that, can you keep that? And they're like, you know
Mm.
what, like sometimes you just have to leave, just let the beat speak to you, basically.
Yeah.
So I learned that, like, you know what, you leave them to it until they ask you, or you can sometimes where you can chip in where it's needed, and then yeah, so so the process is up to your music, so it varies, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I really do appreciate that style of it. It's kind of like there that's a very, very important role in like oversee it's like an overseeing role to some degree. And
Yeah.
actually it's I heard a lot about like even nowadays I forget where I heard it, but a lot of what we'll hear from, let's say, Metro Boomin or some of those guys, like there are younger producers who may have made the sample or
Mhm.
made the actual, I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say, drum loop or made the piano loop or whatever it may be, and they have a bunch of kids that they know on the internet. They take the drum loop from him, take a thing from him, then they spice
100%.
together, and then they put their stamp on it. I actually was talking to a producer. I can't remember the name, but he was telling me how his name is actually on a big record that I know for Central C actually. And I remember I met him. I was like, "Yo, what was it like producing?" Like, I said, "Nah, I just sourced this and sourced that, and then I just and my tag was on it." You know, that kind of way.
Basically, yeah.
And that's very much like I know that this this can also not sound like a compliment as well as it can, but I think DJ Khaled is a genius in that sense as well. I think should be given a genius role. I know people kind of see him as a parody at times, but that man's a genius in his own right, and he has an ear for things, and he'll pick things out. And there's definitely a massive role in music for that. In fact, sometimes it's better not to get your. It's no need for you to get your hands dirty. I feel that way with engineering my vocals. In a way, it's like like sometimes everyone's like, "Oh, learn how to engineer, your own vocals." I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm not tripping too much off it. It's like once I pick and curate the people I know who can do the best and bring the best out of it, and then I
Mhm.
cook it together. I kind of like playing that role, and I think that's I see why you find so much comfort in that. Yeah,
Yeah, Because ideally I want to actually learn how to use the software to make the beats because um sometimes I can't always rely on like other beat makers or
Right,
I
right,
might think of a remix or a mashup that I want to do and obviously it's part of me it's part of me being always wanting to stand out. So I
right.
always like fresh stuff. Or I might want to flip. Well, let's say I've got a set like in Brazil. I might want to take one of the old popular songs and flip it to like a upbeat Afrobeat or Amapiano or like an Afro house or something, and I can't do that. So eventually, I was literally having a conversation with my friend yesterday that I need to get the software and then just crack on with it, you know.
Yeah,
And the part with like DJ Khaled as well. I mean, before I used to see, sorry, people saying, "Oh, he didn't even make the beat and stuff like that." Da, da, da. But what he's doing, every other DJ can do. So why is it that
exactly.
he's the only one that's got the bigger tracks? You know what I mean? So you have to have the ear and like the
It's
vision
air.
of
It's
or just
a
hearing,
vision and
okay, I can
air.
hear
Yeah,
this person on it. Okay, this track is right to push out,
yeah,
but no.
yeah,
If it's easy, everyone
yeah. Like,
do
everyone
it.
could do it. That's facts. Facts. Facts.
You know what I
Facts.
mean? So
And
it
and he
takes some
knows.
sort
Yeah.
of yeah, it takes some sort of like you said, good ear, good musical ear, and good judgment and grace. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
And quickly back onto the I want to say different departments of Afro music. We've got Afro pop, Amapiano, Afro house,
Mhm.
and all these genres. What excites you most out of all them for the future of African music? Like one of them, you're like, you know what, this I feel like is I can predict it's going to be tomorrow's heavy hitter.
You can't. I don't think you can predict, to be honest.
Yeah,
But you can think like, you know what, Afro House has been around, and now there's
yeah,
like we
yeah,
have a
yeah,
resurgence of Afro House again. It's all
yeah.
like popping and stuff. So maybe Afrobeats might dip a bit. There might be in the next 2 3 years, you might have someone that come up with a new sound of
Mm,
Afrobeats. Like,
mm,
like Rema last year released an album with different sounds. And some of them, when I first heard them, I was like, what is this? But when I first said Ozeba, I was like, but later on, like, I was like, whoa. Like Macjob, Azaman, and Yayo. And I was like, that album was just full of
it
bangers.
was, yeah, it was.
Even with Burner's new stuff, when I first heard Bundle by Bundle, I'm like, I'm not sure. But when I hear in the club, I'm like, I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. In
I
the club,
get it.
it slaps. Yeah, it does.
Even Update as well. I'm like, whoa. And
Mm,
the new one with Travis Scott, I despised that track when I first heard it. But
really,
the
yeah.
more I hear, I'm like, I get it.
Mm,
I get it. It has that whole Brazilian baila funk feel, like
mm,
Angolan kuduro vibe to it.
mm.
And I see what he's doing with it, and I'm like, you know what? You can't actually predict. That might be the track that takes off somewhere in another
Yeah,
country or this and that. So with the sound, um uh, everything is exciting. Do you know what I mean? Who thought like alternative Afro beats like Odile stuff will become a thing right
yeah,
now?
yeah,
And I feel like
yeah,
with alternative Afro beats, started with Burna Boy.
yeah. Okay, really. What records were
When he
those?
like to party. He
Mm,
done like to party. He done tonight. He done, tonight. Oh, said tonight will be your night. Oh, that was all like it was just different sounds. Just that's what he
mm,
called his stuff Afrofusion. When he done tracks
mm.
like Come on to Topel, um, just so many tracks, and I feel like that's where some artists got inspiration from.
Mm.
And there was like Odunsi, there was Santi, and even Thames as well. It was a very
Yeah,
alternative.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? There's Bodge, there's loads of them that
yeah,
does alternative stuff. So it's just exciting. I just like hearing good beats. For me, if I can listen to a beat with no vocals on repeat, then yeah, I'm good. I'm sold.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, that's a very good answer because it is. Who would have ever thought O'Deal would have been something today? Who would have thought Thames would have been something today? We're just picking them. It's just moments are happening for the music that's kind of bringing and connecting with people in a way that we can't really predict. And then, of course, I have to make a little comment on the Rema little era that he just had there. Everyone freaked out when they heard it at first and just like, what is this? And I think it was Ozema that I liked. What's the one where it's like Batman is up in the sky? Is it Ozema?
Ozema.
I think Ozeba. I think that's the one. I was like, wow, this is I was like, this is crazy.
Even one of the first track that kind of like broke him, this first global kind of hits, Do Maybe was different. It sounded very Indian, like, and
Yes, yes.
people actually clowned him for it. Like, oh, he sounds Indian, and then he done a tour, he done a show, he had a show in India, sold out show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he actually embraced the clowning, and then it became what it is right now. So yeah, Rema is definitely one to watch out for. There's the top three right now where he's a force right now. Where in the
Yeah.
next 2-3 years he can become the guy of the new
Yeah, he
face
could.
of
Yeah.
Afrobeats.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think so if he plays his cards right. And speaking of what's next, Afrology Sessions, right? Are you looking to expand festivals, global tours, maybe even a record label?
So I've already got a company called Stamp,
Nice.
where I feel like if I was to have a label, it would be under Stamp label, Stamp Records and stuff. And I've got with Afrology, is at the moment it's just like the YouTube stuff right now. And I've also got like FiiFii and Friends, the events as well. And there's like Afro Paradise as well, that's the event. So with Afrology Sessions, I don't know where it's gonna take me, but hopefully it can in terms of like the festivals or big events, probably Afro Paradise and FiiFii and Friends is the one that I feel like will be that. But maybe Afrology Sessions will be a what do you call it? It will be like a springboard to that stuff. Yeah.
And you just said
So
there, what's your favorite to play? Like, what's your favorite scene? Is it like a club that's hopping? Is it a outdoor festival? Is it like you said, a crowd, like that moment where you're playing in that, with the Ghana and thing? Which one is it?
it will festivals definitely 100%, but my favorite crowd to play to is a crowd that appreciates good music, appreciates yeah, good music that are just bubbly and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Just they hear stuff and they just want to dance. They don't care if it's like Burna Boy or Wizkid, as long as
Right,
it's making them dance and it's making
right.
sense. So yeah, I feel like you're just like music lovers and open-minded people when it comes to like music who
Yeah.
embrace everything. So you could find those at like a house party, or you can find them in a club or a
Right.
wedding
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
stadium or a
Yeah.
festival. So you just have to always pray and wish and hope for to have a good crowd that are down to party. Yeah.
And for young creatives out there watching you, what do you feel is the best advice for those who are trying to build platforms and just shift culture like you have?
Consistency. Staying true to yourself, having a niche, being consistent and staying true to yourself and knowing how to network, know how to network.
Right,
Do you know what I
right.
mean? Your network is your net worth, and that's very true. And don't burn bridges. Know how to treat people when
R-
you're at the top or when
That's a
you're
big
coming
one.
up. However, wherever you are, just know how to treat people
Yeah.
because you can be here today, you can be here tomorrow, and when you're there and you're coming down, the people you treated going up could be your helpers going back up and stuff. So
Yeah.
very important.
I know a few examples of that.
Yeah,
Just in general in the industry, people who did
yeah,
that quite well, and I'm kind of like, yeah. In regards to like, and I think people connected with that artist in a way. I'll go out and say I think Chris Brown had a good way to connect with people that even when his career seemed to be on the brink, I think he's a real guy to a place where people just I say that all the time, like our community held him back up. And there was something that we
Literally.
sensed that we were like, you know what, nah, Chris ain't the one that gotta go. But there are some that we'd say, nah, you gotta go, brother. You know, like we ain't gonna stand by you.
So, at the end of the day, it comes down to your personal character as well. That plays
Yeah,
a huge part. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because like Chris Brown done a song with Wizkid when Afrobeat wasn't popping,
yeah. You're right. You're right. You're
and
right.
um he done tracks with Davido when
Yeah,
Afrobeat hadn't popped.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So and he didn't care. He was just a real guy, and I like
You're
this
so
sound. What
true.
is this and stuff? So
So true.
he embraced the sound in
Yeah,
our brothers that is being reciprocated to him right now. Where we're like, you know what? If the world is against you, we've got you, type of
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, Chris is a real one. It comes down to his,
He
like you said, he's
is.
a real guy. It comes down to his person, his personality and him as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hear some stories about like, oh, Chris did the feature, didn't even charge me. Brand new artist, ain't even come up yet. Like,
Mhm.
that's some real stuff right there. So yeah, it's a very very good point for anybody who's thinking of careers. But can I ask a controversial question because it's like it comes to my mind.
Yeah, go on, feel free.
I'm not gonna say no names because I don't want to say no. You probably bump into them. Um, where do you draw the line between culture vulture and culture embracing? Like, what if you were to categorize either or? Do you think it's useless? Like, there ain't no such thing at all, or do you feel like, especially when it comes to like artists who are like, different types of artists who are making Afro songs? You got, we spoke about Rema and how he did a song with Selena Gomez, or you talk about other artists, or I'm not even talking about them specifically, but as someone who's really into music, what should we be policing what's culture vulture and or should we just enjoy the merge of everything? What's your thoughts on that?
I think if someone's coming to a culture and they just coming to take and go, you can tell by how they go
Hmm.
about things. And there's people that are just like naturally embracing it.
Hmm.
And I feel like if we have the resources and all the information, all the tools to make the sound travel without certain gatekeepers, then we can gatekeep. But I don't think we can gatekeep. I mean, Fella and most of the people from the 70s, 80s, most of them were signed. Bob Marley and all of that they were signed to major labels. That's how
Right.
the music will travel so far. So it's not a new thing. It's not something new that artists like being signed to like big labels where they have to rely on them to make their sound travel.
Right.
If
Right. Right.
Africa or the Caribbean had a system
Right.
in place,
Right.
then I can say, yeah, we can say, yeah, we don't need you. With you, with or without you, we're still gonna drive, we're still gonna move the ship. But I feel like where the scene is right now and how the system is set, we can't say no to people that wanna just come in and um, profit off the sound.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you look at the big three, for example, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Rema, they
Mm.
all have machines behind them. Do you know there's this thing called
Mm.
you have a glass ceiling that you can reach, and once you get there, you still have to kind of like go to next level and break through.
Right.
You
Right.
need the machine, or you're gonna have to have the funds
Mm.
to work the machine. And if you don't have that, then the big boys will have to come in. And some
Mm.
of them generally, naturally like the sound. They have an interest in it, but at the end of the day, it's business.
Mm.
So
You you
um, yeah, go on.
you reminded me of something that happened recently within the music industry. I forget who it was, but a Nigerian record label, I think, if I'm not mistaken, had sold its huge shares to Sony or something like bigger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just on what you're saying there makes so much sense. And I wanted to ask you then my next question. It is the final one, but it's a very important question. Like the African dream, especially when you're speaking about musically there, and how sometimes we gotta give in order to, in order to kind of bring more
Elevate, yeah.
attention or get more reach or whatever. In your eyes, what does the African dream look like, and what do you think, if you were to make a guess, the steps are to get there? Is it to kind of sell our stuff to the West, Western labels and I want to say institutions, almost like institutions in regards to Sony, different stuff like that, or do you think we should stick to our guns and kind of,
Yeah, I mean, we can stick to our guns, but it's just so like it's so. I mean, you can stick to your guns and still go, but to go, you will have to collaborate, and the best way to kind of like preserve most of what we have is just for you to have leverage. When you have leverage, you can negotiate in your favor. So I think like it's just basically just leverage. I mean, you can do the whole independent route or have your own funds and then work the machine and still live a comfortable life, but your reach might not be as wide as other people that are backed by the big machine. So I just say just leverage so you can know how to negotiate your deals with the big corporations.
and what's the African dream then to you when you think about it? How do you define that?
Um, African dream is just to take Africa to the world, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be on every stage and people knowing about about you or you stepping on a stage where even when people don't know about you, by the time you leave a mark where like,
Right.
oh, who was this guy? We want to know more about him. You know what I mean? To just be globally accepted, not accepted, but
Yeah.
people
Yeah, I
probably to
appreciate it.
enjoy, appreciate it, to enjoy
Yeah.
what you do, whether you're from Africa or Caribbean and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just global kind of like dominance, not dominance, but just global.
Hey, unfortunately, there's no better word, and we're gonna. I always say we don't plan to rule with an iron fist.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
plan to
yeah.
lose. So if we score in the goals,
So be it.
so be it. That kind of way, like. But all fair and square, I guess. That's just us keeping it humble.
Yeah.
But brother, thank you so much.
You're
It's been
welcome.
an honor to have you on the Pan African Lifestyle Show. I really enjoyed talking music with a tastemaker, and you're doing a lot for the I want to say the perception of African music. You've been doing it for a while now. Even a guy like me with a very westernized ear, you've been part of bringing it to the world and bringing it to the forefront. So thank you so much, and thank you for
You're
coming
welcome.
on the show today. And we're wishing you all the best of luck, and we'll be rooting for you here at PAL.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I appreciate being on there. It's been very informative and very educated. Like I've learned stuff as well being on here. So yeah, I've enjoyed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Living a dream, living the African dream.